my trailer's empty, and I need to bring something home with me. So somewhere out in these woods, there's a project vehicle I'm bringing home. Not sure which one yet, though. So let's look at the candidates. This is the first candidate. This is a FC-150. If you're not familiar with them, these are a little Jeep pickup built on a CJ-5 frame. So they're really short, they're four-wheel drive, it's got an F-head motor in it. This one's pretty complete. In fact, I used to drive this around back when I was probably in high school or so, around the yard here. And it did drive. It's basically one of those ran when parked situations. The problem is it was parked somewhere in the 80s. So this has been sitting a while. Time has not been good with it. You might have seen it already. I did a tour of Jeeps a while back, a couple years ago. There's a video on it in my old stuff. But so I already know what's going to happen with this door when I go to open it. It's a nice, unique opening system. A lot of ventilation. You just extract the door, and now you have easy access to the cab. Pretty much be like an ATV where you just hop in and out. So that's a bonus right there. Now, I actually had one of these. I fixed it all up, drove it on the road. I have no desire to ever drive one of these on the road again. They're not good on the road, but they're a great yard vehicle. They're short, they're maneuverable, they have a low range so they can pull stuff. They have like 538 gears in them from the factory. So these things are pretty good for using in the yard. So let me show you a little bit more about this prime example here. Now, besides the initial goodness of it, it has a windshield. It's cracked on that side, but not the driver's side, so you're good there. It's mostly complete on the front here. We've got the easy access door we already looked at. The floor is nicely padded with mouse nests. Let's see what else. We've got easy access fuses mounted directly to the top of the dashboard. A big hole cut in where you'd put brake fluid in, because the master cylinder is up under the dash there. Someone did the proper thing here and added a bunch more cooling. Normally these have a radiator down below under this floor. They're pretty small, they like to overheat. So this has proper cooling here, hooked up very nicely. We have a bit of a door gap on that side. I think that'll just aid in ventilation, so I think we're good there. It's got this neat ceiling mounted AM radio, so that's going to be nice. This air filter tube, the air filter's down there. There's a tube that goes up here. I don't remember the last time that was on. It may never have been, so that's probably 30 years out in the open. So the motor is most likely seized on pretty much any cylinder that had an intake valve open, and probably the others too. But we've got our F head there, and that looks complete. Nothing, no parts stolen off it. Everything's there. We've got at least a quarter of the floor still there, so that's a bonus. This has a micro lock on it, which is an interesting feature. You pull this lever around, it actually has another master cylinder and a gauge, and that locks up all four brakes. Now, it might seem odd to have that on a vehicle. When the brakes hit really hard, it falls over forward. But the reason for that is for towing, because the good stuff is in back. This is the biggest thing about this Jeep I like. It has a PTO drive winch on it. So that is the transfer case, an in-out box, chain drive to a shaft, shaft drives another chain drive, drives to the winch. Got your in-out here. So that is a nice heavy-duty winch that can be used to pull a lot. That's why you need all four wheels locked up, is you lock up all the tires and then engage the winch, and it usually drags this thing backwards with all four wheels sliding. Now, I like that part. The bed is, we've got some nice padding on the bed. There's some of the spare tire mount left over there. Easy access oil filter, so you can change your oil without even opening your door or anything. That's very convenient. This rust is just on the bed, not the frame. The frame itself isn't that bad. The shocks should work fine. Not sure what happened there, but we're just going to ignore that for now. This does have the weight. Now, I mentioned these vehicles have a habit of flipping over, they flip over forward if you hit the brakes too hard. Factory added a giant cast iron weight in the back here to keep the rear end down so it didn't flip over as often. So it has it in place. The other one I had didn't have that, so this is much better that way. Then we have, this is where the gas tank was. We had the gas tank up here so that you didn't have to worry about a fuel pump. You just open a valve and it would drain down into the carburetor through that tube there. So you don't have any problems with fuel pumps or anything like that. Only problem you had is if you left the valve on, the carburetor overflowed and filled the engine with gasoline. And that happened every time you left the valve open because the float seat didn't really work. This side is pretty good. I mean, there's a little perforation, but not bad. It's mostly there. Yeah, that's all pretty fine. And yeah, totally serviceable. Now, what I would do with this, like I said, I don't want to drive it on the road ever again, but I think this would be a great little yard tow truck. If I add an A-frame to the back here, use the winch up and over, I can actually use it to lift a lot and it'd be a lot more maneuverable than the other winch truck I have. So that would be great for that. And I have pretty much all the parts lying around to fix it. So that's a good possibility. We'll have to think about that one. Let's go look at some other stuff. This one's another good candidate. This is a 73 Chevy 2-wheel drive stepside pickup. So about the best square body you could get. Let me show you around it. First off, it'll be really easy to throw a motor in this with all the front end missing already. And the front end missing would look like a problem. I happen to know there's a 73 Blazer over that way which has a complete nose. So I can salvage parts and put together a nose for this thing. We already have a hood prop jammed in here, so that way it would hold the hood open when I do install one. We have doors. There's 2 of them, and they're labeled ZZ Top, so obviously they're good. Now there's a few little rust issues here and there, some there, there, over this way a little bit, back there. So a little bit of rust repair will be needed. Now this was a standard truck. You can tell by the hole in the floor. There was a manual transmission. There are no pedals anymore though, so I would have to find a set of those. You wouldn't have to worry about any bad readings in your gauges when there aren't any at all. There's a few little pieces here and there missing, but overall the structure's there. Now we have the step side bed already loosened up, so that'll be easy to work on. And it's missing the fenders. It has the step side though, so that's what matters. It has a lot of performance stickers on it, so you know this thing was fast. We have the floor has the open air effect going on. It's sort of like a convertible, just on the bottom. Now we have, it actually has the chains for the bed here, which is a nice bonus. When we install a tailgate, these would hold them. What else do we have? So there's a rear axle. We're all good there. Still another step side on this side. The fuel tank's there. We've got plenty of Bondo to work with there. The door has a little dent and a small tree, but that's no big deal. Pretty much we've got the bare bones. This one would obviously have to be basically a rat rod. That's really the only way to go with this thing. Had to steal some pieces from other vehicles. I do have some other stuff around, like I mentioned. I have another Blazer. Also got that truck sitting here, which has a good floor and a 350. 350, I don't know if it's good, but the floor is good, so that's something. Oh, it's got a driving light and a fan, drive shaft. We got all sorts of stuff here. So this is a good candidate. The only thing I don't know is these have been made popular by Roadkill and the muscle truck. I don't know if they've been overdone, because I would go with a standard small block Chevy, and at this point one of these pretty much needs an LS motor or massive power to be cool, because so many people have them. So I'm a little iffy on this one, besides the fact it looks like it might take a little bit of time to get it straightened out. It wouldn't exactly be a quick project, but certainly doable, so I'll consider it. But let's go look at some more. That's the old Blazer I'm talking about. There's a good, well, there's a nose for it. We have a fender, has a hood. It's got a small block Chevy with headers, so that's almost perfect. The hood looks pretty straight, and I got the rest of the front end, the grill and the headlights and stuff are over in a pile over there. So this would be a good parts truck. Actually, it looks like it might have dash stuff too. Climb over these trees. Oh, someone stole the dash out of this one too. So I definitely wouldn't have to worry about any gauges showing me problems with the motor, because I wouldn't have any. Yeah, okay. Pretty much the nose and the motor is all that's left on this one. Maybe some door pieces. Ooh, it's got glass. I could steal the glass. Maybe I'll make that truck a convertible. Actually, stepside Chevy convertible has potential. Now that would be interesting, because that isn't overdone. Just top the top on it, never even put a top on it at all, just have a convertible only rat rod stepside. That's got some possibilities to it. Yeah, I'm thinking convertible style like this would be the only way to go. If I can just steal those doors directly and just bolt them on that truck. Perfect. The next candidate is right there. It's in there, I promise. Let's get a little closer. All right, well, this one is a little bit buried in trees. You might have guessed it's been sitting here a while. This has been also sitting here for over 30 years. Now, I actually know the history of this car because it belonged to a friend of the family who bought it brand new. This is a Vista Cruiser. It is Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser wagon, one owner, all original. So that's something. Problem is, well, besides getting it out, the reason he got rid of it is it rusted away and stopped having oil pressure. So this will be a project. But it's a cool car, possibly the coolest wagon they've ever made. And it's all there, I think. Let's look at it. All right, we can see rust issues are going to be probably everywhere. Yeah, you got holes. I've got a factory hubcap, got pricker bushes. We've got, here you can see, has the upper glass, the lower glass, and this is the one that has the upper windshields, if you're not familiar with them already. It has a tree growing between the glass and the door, so that might be cause some problems in that mechanism. We'll worry about that later. I have some vines. Oh no, that's not growing out, that's just near it. Perfect, that's already fixed. The Vista Cruiser emblem, another hubcap, probably has all four. A little bit of rust in the door. It appears the hood hinge is rusted. Last time someone tried to close it, had a little bit of folding going on, but the motor is still under there. I'm not sure. The air filter's upside down, it looks like. So there might be something going wrong with the motor, but like I said, that was already pretty bad to start with. We've got the whole grill. We have the Parkway toll from 1986. So that's the last time this thing was up and running. We've got a small tree on the hood, but I don't think there's anything useful under there anyway. Let's take a look inside it. All right, the door opens. That's a plus. We've got those rockers might be a little rusted. Actually, they don't feel that bad, but we haven't looked underneath them. There's a little rust there, a little more rust there. That looks like a body mount for some reason in the interior. We have a lug nut in the gauges. That's not a good sign. We have another air filter back there, another not good sign. Oh, hey, they have rear sun visors on this thing. That's pretty cool. These are a cool vehicle. Oh yeah, this has the cool little the cool little crank for the vent window. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, it's going. She's gonna go. There we go. You turn the handle. You turn the handle and you get the venting. That's just sweet. Make sure that's closed because we don't want any water getting in this car and damage it. Oh hey, that's... I bet it'll make a nice sound when you drive down the road. Be like instead of a radio. Oh hey, there's a snake in there. Wonder if I trapped him. Let's let him out. Yep, there we go. Run away, little guy. That Vista Cruiser, that is a really cool car. Being all together like that, basically there's two possibilities for that car. Either one, restore it completely and try to make it like original, which might take a while with that level of rust. Or two, that might be a good parts car for someone trying to restore another one. So, I think I'm going to move on to the next candidate. I'll keep this in mind, but I don't think I'm up for a restoration because I don't like keeping things stock. This is my final candidate. Now, the other three are vehicles that I knew about back when I was a kid, well, teenager, and I'm familiar with the history. I know about them. I know what I'm getting myself into. This car, I've never seen before. I did a quick peek at it a couple years back. I did a tour of performance cars, and I pretty much looked under the cover and decided it wasn't worth saving. But I have never actually really seen this and what parts are here, and I kind of have been thinking about this car because I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up watching all the good car shows like Dukes of Hazzard. I already had a General Lee though, so I can't redo that, and Smokey and the Bandit. This is a 78 Trans Am with T-tops and was a 400 car. So that might be the Bandit car. But I'm going to see how many parts it has and if it's worth fixing. So we're going to take a look here. Oh hey, mouse. Always a good sign when mice run out of the car. Found this. That's important. It's a little dented. But it's there. There we go. That's the way to do it. Alright, we got fenders. The other fender. Well, let's go for the tour, for better or worse. Doors don't really function at all. Seat, terrible. One good thing, see that big puddle of water on the floor? By the fact that there's still a puddle of water on the floor means there's not a gaping hole in the floor. So that's something. Dashboard, bad and blue. Looks like the gauges are there. That's a plus. T-tops missing. Rear seat missing. Driver's seat missing. The nose, we found one inner fender well, two fenders, a hood, no shaker part of the hood for the motor, no nose, and on these cars the nose is hard to obtain. We got rust everywhere, you know. Hey, I can reach in the trunk through the side. I've got a nice mold of the bumper in case I need to reshape that bumper. I can just use that section of tree that's growing around it. But yeah, Confederate flag on the back window. You know what? Let me put a fender on there just so I can see what it's supposed to look like. Actually, maybe I'll yank this thing a little bit. I'm just going to drag it a little bit out of here and see what happens. How much worse could it get? Gotta throw it together and get an idea what it's going to look like. Huh. Interesting. I don't know. It's time to think about it. Well, I slept on it, and those are all good projects, but they're all pretty big. And I already have a bunch of projects started at home. My other option is not picking up an entire car and going back with parts. So what I could do is try to collect parts to finish up my projects at home from the stash here. Like for example, I've got this F-head sitting here. It ran about 15 years ago, so I think that would be a good upgrade for one of my $500 Jeeps that I bought in that pile. Got a few other parts too. This old forward cab could donate its axles, because they'd be a nice upgrade to that 2A, because that has a Dana 44 rear end and bigger brakes. So that would get better braking and a stronger rear end, and that Jeep has broken axles, so I need to do a swap anyway. Maybe a 4-cylinder diesel swap into a flat fender? That could get interesting. There's a lot of possibilities here. Let me know what you think, because I really don't know. I haven't decided yet. And I'm kind of torn. I got lots of possibilities each way and good reasons for and against. So give me your opinion and I'll let you know what I decide. Till then, keep having fun.